Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we are here at Frederick County Animal Control to show you some of our adoptable animals. And our first guest is a domestic shorthair black cat who is only a year and a half old, and his name is Redwing. For those of you who have seen other episodes of our show, Redwing has been on the show before. And the reason he is on again today is it would be great if you would go back and look at the past episodes and compare. He came here as a 10-month-old kitten, and that was about 5 months ago. And he was shy. He did great on the TV show, but he was worried about strangers, and he was not interested in being filmed, and he was pretty quiet. But he has been with us for so long that now he is used to the routine, used to being held by strangers, by people of all ages. He knows us. He's much more outgoing. And the reason I wanted to show him to you again is because not only is his socialization much better, he has a lot more experience from being here, but he has been here long enough that now he's a year and a half old. So people don't consider him a kitten. He is not as likely to be adopted as he was 4 months ago. And another thing he has that goes against him is a lot of people don't choose to adopt black cats. And we're not exactly sure what that is, but it's a combination of things. One is there's a myth that black cats are bad luck. I've always had a black cat, and it doesn't have anything to do with luck. And the other thing is they're really hard to see in the cage. So when you're walking past a wall of cages and you're trying to choose a kitten or a cat that you might want, it's hard to see the black ones inside the stainless steel shadow of our cages. So we really want to help him get adopted, and we'll use everything that we can to help him do that. One thing people often ask about the shelter is we're not a no-kill shelter. And the reason that I say that is because we euthanize animals that are dangerous. We euthanize animals that are sick. And when and if our cages are full, we will euthanize animals that have behavior problems and temperament problems. So the way that a no-kill shelter operates is that when they're full, they close their doors. And because we are funded by your tax dollars, we will never close to people who are in need to find homes for their pets. But that means that there are times when we are overwhelmed and we have more animals than we can rightly care for. We work with rescues and all kinds of groups and volunteer programs like our foster program so that we can house more than our 200 animals in the day maximum. So what we are trying to do for Redwing is to get him a home, and obviously he's a friendly, healthy cat, so he can stay here as long as it takes. We have had cats stay here for up to 8 months before. They had no issues, no health problems, they just weren't chosen. So if you would consider a cat like Redwing for adoption, please come by the shelter because we have plenty. And right now at the beginning of kitten season, he's going to be up against it because now he's considered an adult. There's going to be a bunch of cute, colorful kittens here competing for homes. So he's going to need a little help to find the right one. We are back with a domestic long-hair white cat, the complete opposite of Redwing in outer appearance, but a similar personality. This is Yorkie, and Yorkie is 5.5 years old and purring up a storm. And Yorkie was adopted from us a few years ago and returned to us, which we definitely appreciate when people can no longer keep their shelter pet. We do like to know where they go. We have in our contract that we expect you to let us know if you can't keep the pet, because we want to make sure that if we have placed a dog or cat in a home and it doesn't work out, that we know why, because that helps us in the future making good matches and preparing people for pet adoption. So Yorkie came back to us because the family is moving and cannot take pets where they are headed. And as anyone who listens to the radio spot that we do for Shockley Honda they know that we talk about this all the time. Most of us who have pets plan for the pets in a move, and we would take our pets along with us no matter what our circumstances are because they're part of the family. It would be to the average pet owner like saying, I have to leave my spouse at home because spouses aren't allowed in the new house, or I have to leave my kid at home because kids aren't allowed in the new house. So we definitely are surprised by how often moving is given as a reason for relinquishing your pet. But it is one of the top 5, and it is what it is. So this kitty's family moved to a place where they weren't able to take the cat and brought the cat back to us. So we actually have a lot of information about Yorkie from the previous time that we adopted Yorkie out and this time. And he is very friendly, purring up a storm, and has a lot to offer. Beautiful cat. And we don't expect him to stay too long in the shelter, but hopefully, if you have been waiting for such a cat, you'll see him now and get in before he's gone. This is Taffy, and Taffy is a domestic short-hair cat. We call her color Torby, and that is just technical for calico and tabby mixed, or tortoiseshell and tabby mixed. And she is very friendly. She's about 10 months old. Obviously, she is not spayed at this young age, and she came to us as a stray from Bent Street, but we will spay her before she is adopted. One of the things I should explain about the stray animals that we introduce you to on Pet Pals is that when an animal comes to us as a stray, we would prefer to call them something other than, in Taffy's case, 4892. So we don't want to just call her 4892. So we call her Taffy, but if you lost a kitten on Bent Street and her name is not Taffy and she looks just like this, then this is her. When we get strays and make up their name, sometimes that's confusing to people who are looking for a lost pet, especially if you lost her a month ago and now you're seeing her a bit larger. Perhaps she doesn't act the same on Randy's lap as she would in your house or on the street. So we do think it's important to let you know that if you are looking for a lost pet and you see one on the TV show that looks anything like your pet, please come in, no matter what we say the name is, no matter what age we choose. Let's say I'm saying she's 10 months old and we're judging by her teeth, which is pretty accurate at this age. But if you have a kitten that's missing that's only 6 months old that looks just like this, then, you know, please don't discount that we could be off by a couple months. She is very friendly, as you can see, and she'll make a great pet. And one of the reasons for featuring her on the TV show today is that in June we start to get kittens. Now, we work with many rescues that take litters of kittens as often as they can. So rescues like Second Hope and the Animal Welfare League come in and take, yeah, that's our bunny off camera, take tiny kittens from us, and they've been very active doing so this spring. So this 10-month-old kitten is one of the younger ones we have in the shelter. We're going to introduce you to a tiny one in a couple minutes. But within a month, we are going to have so many tiny kittens that this 10-month-old is going to seem less young and less kittenish than she truly is. So if you are interested in a kitten and you want to wait for a tiny one, by all means do. We'll have plenty. But if you are interested in one that's more adolescent and has less need to eat earrings and string, as a tiny kitten will, then please come by and think about getting her. Or if you know anyone in town who lost their cat who looks like this, please make sure they get in touch with us. We are going to find her a new home either way, but we do like reuniting pets with their lost families. In the case of cats, it's probably less than 10% of the cats that we get back to their original owners. So that may be because someone owned her mother and her mother had kittens they didn't want, but it also may be that they just never match up, don't realize the shelter is here on Rosemont Avenue. Sometimes people have called the Humane Society in town. They don't have a shelter, but they do have a voicemail, and people have told me many times, we reported our lost cat to the Humane Society. And while that's a great idea, it isn't the shelter, and it will not help us find you and get your animals back to you. So please call Animal Control on Rosemont Avenue. We are the county shelter. If you have lost a pet, we need to know that so that we can match you up with the animals that we find. We are back with Farrah, and Farrah is a brown tabby domestic shorthair, and she is very young. A couple, that's Ella the rabbit again. Sorry about that. She is a cat that came to us. We do know who her owner was, but this is a common problem for cats being loosely owned. And what I mean by that, and we've talked about it on the show before, is that people see a cat around and about outside. They assume someone owns the cat, but after a couple of days and the cat being pretty persistent, they realize that she's hungry. And so they buy a bag of cheap cat food at Walmart and they start to feed the cat. They make her exactly healthy enough to have a litter of kittens, but they don't feel committed to her to supply vet care or get her spayed or actually bring her in the house. So what happens in the spring when there are either more cats or litters of kittens is people decide, oh my gosh, this situation is getting out of control, time to take the cats into the animal shelter. And we certainly do want you to bring stray cats to the animal shelter so that we can spay and neuter them, find them homes, and stop the overpopulation problem that can be in some neighborhoods. But we also want to encourage you, if you are feeding a stray cat, to get in touch with us, get in touch with the Animal Welfare League, get in touch with US2A. There are a lot of groups in Frederick County that will pay for you to spay your cat, that will tell you about low-cost clinics for shots. So you really can loosely own a cat. As long as you're willing to feed and provide the license and rabies shot, we can help you get her spayed, because we get over 5,000 animals a year, sometimes over 6,000, and more than half of them are cats, and we cannot find homes for all of them. So we really do appreciate groups that help out, as well as people willing to take responsibility for a cat. One of the groups that helped us out this year was the Snyder Foundation for Animals. They gave us money to pay to spay these cats, and we've used up all the money. It was a great program. It's our second time doing it, but we think it really does make a difference for Frederick County, because we do have a wild cat population that is reproducing at a rate higher than the homes that want the kittens. So between now and October, we're going to get probably 1,000 to 1,200 kittens. So we really do need you to let us know about cats that need to be spayed and work with us on getting them in here. But if you have considered adopting a cat but aren't sure about the financial commitment, call. We'll tell you all the resources there are available to you if you want to help out. And it certainly makes a big difference to us, anyone who takes a pre-shelter cat, because that keeps our population down and keeps our euthanasia rate down, which everyone in Frederick would like. This is Lily. Lily is a gray domestic short-hair kitten, and it is the start of kitten season for us. So we will have bunches of them. And as you can see, compared to all the cats you've met today, look how much harder she is to hold on to. And she's a perfectly friendly, sweet little kitten. She's purring and is affectionate. You can probably see her spay scar. Here at the animal shelter, we have veterinarians who are experienced in pediatric spay-neuter, and we spay our puppies and kittens as soon as they weigh 3 pounds, as long as they're healthy. And the veterinarians put a little bit of green ink on the incision of the females, so that there will be a permanent tattoo letting you know the animal was spayed. When they are spayed this young, sometimes there's no scar at all by the time they're adults. So we like you to be able to show that your cat was spayed. And also other shelters do similar things to make sure that if we get animals in that aren't microchipped and we can't identify them, that we can look at them and know that they've already been spayed or neutered. And if you are interested in getting a kitten from us, now is the time to start thinking about it. Kittens need to have plenty of entertainment, and while they don't need to have somebody home all day, because they can be trained to use a litter pan, which we do here at the shelter, so that they don't need to go inside and outside. Cats that go outside face a lot of risks, obviously: dogs, cars, escape, disappearance, weather, those kinds of things. They still do need plenty of entertainment once you do come home, until they're about 8 or 9 months old. So it is a commitment to get a kitten, because they're just into everything. And if you do decide to get a kitten, We have lots of tips for ways that you can introduce the cat to your house, teach the cat not to scratch your things, using restriction in the bathroom at night so that you can supervise during the day, and also toys that you can get that will occupy the cat. And everyone who's ever had a kitten knows wadded up balls of paper make the best toys. So there are many ways to keep your kitten entertained until she's old enough to know all of the house rules. If you think you're up to it, then we are Frederick's only animal shelter, and we would be happy to match you up with a kitten. But as I said, we work with lots of rescues who have taken many kittens already this spring, and some of them are even full with the number they can take. So as we await the influx from our 80 foster homes, we may happily refer you to those rescues that have already picked up kittens from us. If you are not interested in getting a cat or kitten, then come back after the break and you will see what else we have. I hope you join us.
Need an idea for your child's birthday party? Look no further. At the Middletown Rec Center, we have all your birthday party needs. We have a full-size gymnasium, our large rec room, sports equipment, and many birthday party theme ideas. Each party includes crafts, games, and a story. Please call 301-600-1646 for more information.
Welcome back. We are back with our adoptable dogs at Frederick County Animal Control. And Tango, as you can see, is a very well-trained generic dog. If dogs are allowed to interbreed, all of the purebreds that you would recognize, just mix them all together, then what you normally get is a spotted or yellow dog with a medium coat and prick or flopped over ears. So, as you can see, this is the prototype of dog. We have him as part hound because you can kind of see from his coloring the beagleness, the Walker hound perhaps. But one of the difficult things is that genetically the outside of a dog is determined by about 2% of the DNA. So all dogs have all of the genes that they could, be any color, be any size, that dogs come in. He wants to know about the rabbits. So you cannot tell by looking at a dog what breed the dog is. But we do try to make a good guess because it usually follows that whatever outward appearance the dog has, houndish, terrierish maybe, then they also are going to display some of those behaviors. Like he was a little interested in the smells of the rabbits, so I suspect that he would be interested in following the scent of other animals and being outside a lot, especially if he can be protected from the weather because he has the short coat. So Tango is 2 to 3 years old. He came to us as a stray from Emmitsburg, and as I described with the cats, if you know of anyone in the Emmitsburg area or nearby who is missing a hound beagle type dog or farm dog and his name isn't Tango, then don't forget that when they come to us as a stray, we make up the name because we just don't want to call him 4956. So if you know anyone who's missing Tango, or if you have an interest in adopting a young, healthy, and friendly dog who already sits when he's asked to, and likes some pepperoni, then think about coming by and meeting him and see what you think.
Where are you going?
He's going to get a drink. Brody is a young miniature pinscher, and lots of people come to the shelter and tell me that they would like to get a small dog for inside, or that they have an apartment, good boy, and that they need a small dog because they have an apartment. But I would like to encourage you to rethink that. Brody, miniature pinscher, is a terrier type of dog, very high energy. We have, if you've ever been to the shelter before, puppy pens that are about 4.5 feet high, made of chain link with a top. Brody can get out, and he spends a lot of time figuring out how to get out. So we've moved him over to the large dog side, and I guess what I'm trying to say to you is that it's a common mistake to say, I need a small dog because you think a small dog is small. I can tell you right now that while Brody doesn't weigh very much, he is a big boy. He will need lots of walks a day. He'll need lots to do. He has lots of energy. He'll need lots of exercise. And if you have an apartment, you can get a dog like a greyhound. That's a huge dog that has low energy and is really a couch potato indoors, likes to lounge, doesn't like to get cold. Brody is not going to be such a dog. He has lots of big dog in a small package. So if you are interested in that, big dog in a small package, then he's the puppy for you. So if you are interested in Brody, please come by the shelter and meet him. One thing to know for sure, though, is he does climb out of chain link. So if you had in mind that you were going to put your dog in the backyard so that he could exercise himself, then Brody is not the dog for you. He's going to need you with him, jogging, and taking him to training class and playing with him so that all of this energy can be directed. And he's actually being a really good boy right now. And he is a baby, so some of that will settle down. But I just don't want you to get caught up in the small dogs are easier, because in Brody's case, that's not going to be true. We are back with Marley, and Marley is part collie, maybe border collie, maybe smooth collie, and she is a handful, as you can see. Her family gave her up because they got her from a rescue in Kentucky. She lived with 2 cats and a small dog and did pretty well. But they weren't able to get her back to the rescue in Kentucky. And that commonly happens. Rescues usually make a contract with adopters that says, if for any reason you can't keep this dog, you must bring the dog back to me. But it's hard to enforce legally. And in her case, they were far away from Kentucky at the time that they decided they can't keep her anymore. So they brought her to us, and obviously we will contact that rescue in Kentucky. And if they wish to have her back, they're more than welcome to come and get her. But in the meantime, we're going to offer her a new home with someone with dog experience. She's actually really a great dog, got along well with the cat and the other 2 dogs. But when people have a big dog with lots of energy, like a border collie, and obviously she's not purebred because she's brindle, and that could come from a bulldog type or a terrier type of dog. And terriers just add to the border collie energy. So she just needs training in some direction, some work to do so she can burn off exercise. Sometimes people think that if they get a second dog, they will exercise each other, and that sometimes works. But usually what they want is attention from their beloved person and stuff to do with their beloved person. And one activity that I think that Marley would really like is called Noseworks. And you can find out about it online. And Your Dog's Friend in Rockville has classes in Noseworks. But what you do is you hide treats around some cones and boxes, and you teach your dog to locate things by scent. You can go up as high of a level as you want, up to college level scent work, similar to what drug detection and firearms detections dogs do. Certainly not that regimented and reliable, but fun. And so dogs like this can get twice the exercise out of a 20-minute session. So even though she would, and Randy is getting twice the exercise out of a 2-minute session. So if you think that Marley would be a good match for you because you like to go hiking and you're active, and maybe you have 2 cats and a small dog in your house that you need her to get rid of, to get used to and get along with. So if you are interested in Marley, then please come by the shelter and meet her. She's a good girl. She just needs to know what she needs to do for people to like her. We are back with Shira, and Shira is a short-haired female terrier mix, probably Boston Terrier. She has this little spot in the middle of her white on top of her head, which is pretty typical of Boston Terriers. But again, you can't tell by looking. She also has the energy of a Boston Terrier, and someone cropped her tail like a Boston Terrier. She's a very good girl. She's 7 or 8 years old, which makes her the equivalent of like a 40-year-old person. So for all of those who just said, a 7-year-old dog, I don't know. If you are 40 or over, that's you. So think about coming to adopt a dog that's a little more mature than the dog that you just met, has some nice manners, some nice experience with people, the ability to socialize at a party and walk around a house without knocking over furniture. So she is a lovely dog. She came to us because the people who owned her said that they were keeping her in the crate while they were at work. And given their work schedule was an 8-hour paid day away from home plus the commute time, she was being crated up to 12 hours a day. So they really felt like that wasn't fair to her and that perhaps we could do better for her. So we are interested in finding somebody who has a little bit more time than that. And as we've talked about before on the show, it's very common that people don't plan for the time needs of a dog. And they will have their work day, their commute time, plus their after work activities or kids after school activities, as well as making dinner, doing homework with the kids, and sleeping. So there's only a few hours left in the day for the dog. So if that's the case, then maybe a dog is not the perfect choice of pet for you. But if you're more flexible than that, then we would love to talk to you. Come on down to the shelter and meet all of our dogs. But if you think that Shira is a good match for you or someone you know, you can find her picture on Pet Finder and pass it around and see if we can make a good match. We are back with Spike, and Spike is an American hairless terrier, and he is not the dogs that are frequently featured in the Ugliest Dog contest. Those dogs are usually Holoquintal or Chinese crested. They also come in a hairless variety for different genetic reason. The American hairless terrier is just a regular dog that doesn't have hair. They come in all of the colors of regular dogs. And as you can see, if Spike had hair, he would be black and white. And I don't know if you can see it very easily, but he wears a t-shirt most of the time when he goes outside in the summer because he can get sunburned, just like us, and he has a little farmer's tan. And in the winter, he really does need to wear a sweater, even little doggy pajamas to cover his legs because he doesn't have any fur. So just like us, it would be like going outside in the winter with no clothes on. So he does need a little extra care as far as keeping him from getting sunburned or getting too cold. But other than that, he's just a normal, regular dog. And Spike is only a year old. His owners gave him up because they had a change in their family situation, change of household, that meant that they were, people were going to go their separate ways, and no one was at all sure if they could make room for a dog in the plan. So Spike is here at the shelter looking for a new home. And if there are any American hairless rescue groups that you know of or who members of might be watching the show, then we certainly welcome working with rescues for his special needs. Hi. But we do feel qualified to find him a home from the shelter, and we will do so. Quite an interesting breed of dog for those that are interested in a different looking dog, but as far as his behavior and his training needs and medical needs, just the same, except for the t-shirts for sunburn and coats in the winter. So if you are interested in Spike or just want to know more about the exotic breeds of dogs that we get at the shelter, we have a wish list service, which means if there's a breed of dog that you want that you don't think would ever be in an animal shelter, we might be able to surprise you if you go on our wish list and tell us what kind of dog you're looking for. So thank you very much for joining us on Pet Pals and visiting with this week's adoptable animals. Always remember that we only show 10 or so animals on each episode, and we can have upwards of 200 animals in the shelter on any summer day. So if you did not see the pet of your dreams here today, no worries. We probably will be able to help you. And also, if you have a pet that you are struggling with, that you believe you may not be able to hold on to, please call us well in advance of that emergency situation so that we can talk to you about rehoming pets, rescue groups, training programs, all kinds of ways that it may not come to that, because we get so many animals every year that we're not able to save them all, and we would love to be able to do so, and that can happen if people call us early and adopt from us. So we hope we see you at the shelter. You can see the link below for Pet Pals, and if you go there, you can see prior episodes. We also have pictures of many of our animals on Pet Finder, and we also take animals to events around the county, and would be happy to see you there too. So thanks for joining us.